please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. That's the SGX Nifty, which is indicating we'll have a bit of a gap up. Let's see how trade pans out from there. Ashwani Gujral, Sudarshan Sukhani and Prakash Kaba now join us. Good morning, Ashwani. Your thoughts on market? What would be your first trade if we have a 20-25 point gap up?
Well, good morning. And since Friday, I am bothered about this large premium on Nifty and Bank Nifty. The problem that creates is that if I am buying Bank Nifty 180, 200 points higher because of the premium, anytime the premium collapses back to the average, which is 60, 70 points, I lose 130 for no reason. So it is my perception that these sort of high premium 70 points on Nifty is a sign of overbought position. So I am not going to buy. I will buy only once the premium comes back to its senses. But otherwise, I would like to sell. So if market takes this bad, good macro news poorly, then I am eager to sell and at least get some of that premium, if nothing else. So I am not interested in buying the gap up. I don't think it will sustain. So I would like the market to turn on the downside and possibly be more interested in selling. If I have to buy, I'll buy only if it collapses for some reason.
Okay. Any contours that we should keep in mind for when you say collapses? I mean, in the spot, is there any contours that we should look at all, Ashwani, both Nifty and Bank Nifty?
See, 28, 350, 400, if that is reached in the futures market on Bank Nifty, and on the Nifty, it's tough to do that because you are already, sitting at new highs. But again, similar 50 odd point gap up or 30 to 50 point gap up should allow you to sell. What you have to look for is no follow through. You gap up and the market starts to make the lows of the day, breaks through the gap up low, and that should be enough because that will end up trapping a lot of people on the long side. How does the premium build up? Because everybody is now long, hence people are willing to pay crazy premiums to get further long. So that's where the professional trader probably sees the opportunity.
Okay, well, Sudarshan Sukhani and Prakash Kaba are also with us. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Sudarshan, the Nifty has managed to stay around that 11,700 mark through the course of last week. This week, do you see further moves on the upside, and how do you trade today?
Yeah, good morning. Well, I think the Nifty is in an upbeat mode. It's in an uptrend. The sharp correction was a buying opportunity. And even today, the gap up does present a challenge. But I would be a buyer in the Nifty. The advantage is that we don't have to rush to buy at the open. And I would assume that somewhere during the day, early day, the Nifty futures should have a minor correction, a 30 to 40 point correction. So now I have to talk about futures because the difference between the cash and the futures can change in the morning. So if the futures come down from 11,750, which is what the SGX is suggesting, and have a dip towards 715, 720, 30, 35 point dip, that represents an ideal buying opportunity. I would go long there. Now suppose there is no dip. I mean, the markets don't have to oblige me. In that case, we wait patiently for a consolidation. Markets will consolidate during the day, intraday, and that becomes a buying opportunity wherever the consolidation happens. But the Bank Nifty is in a very difficult position. It's going through a very large trading range, and that range is not breaking either on the downside or upside. But the very fact that it's underperforming the Nifty raises question marks. So I would not touch the Nifty Bank at all. Focus only on buying in dips in the Nifty.
Okay, fair point. Thanks for that, Sudarshan. We'll come back for your specific stocks after asking Prakash what his Nifty strategy is. Good morning, Prakash.
Good morning, Dutta. Well, technically the trend is still intact up. The important level to watch is 11,625. You must assume the trend to be up as long as that stays. The technical targets on the upside, 11,800. As far as Bank Nifty is concerned, 28,000 is a very, very strong support zone to work with. Upside 28,530 still remains the target. We were long. My strategy would be that I was carrying long positions on Bank Nifty. I've kept for selling at the open. If it goes out, it will be very nice. Where do I buy? I'll buy only if I see a reaction or it supports. Otherwise, I'm selling, I'm booking profits out.
Okay, fair enough. Let's discuss individual stocks then. Ashwani, what's in your list? Buy or sell?
So you have to go prima facie with buy calls, but I'm more interested in, the rupee sensitives, because rupee is likely to go beyond 71. So Dr. Reddy is a buy with a stop of 2470, target of 2550. NIT Tech is a buy with a stop of 1395, target of 1430. BOB is a buy with a stop of 148, target of 160. PNB is a buy with a stop of 86, target of 94. Lupin is a buy with a stop of 925, target of 950. Now I have two PSU banks because they have tended to perform very well even in the face of bad macros. So at lower levels, I think the corporate lending story continues to move higher.
Okay, by the way, there's just some news flow on the exchanges on DLF that has come through. That's a positive for them. We did flash it a while back where the CCI has dismissed the allegations of abuse of a dominant position and closed both those cases with respect to the Regal Gardens at DLF Garden City and Sky Court project. So the CCI has said that DLF does not enjoy a dominant position in the market for development and sale of residential apartments, and the market is dynamic by its very nature. This, of course, is a positive for DLF. It's a relief rally. Remember, DLF had been penalized almost 700 crores by the CCI in 2011 with respect to this particular case. Now this case has been closed and the allegations have been dismissed. Sudarshan, any thoughts on how to approach DLF as a stock? How does the chart look? And also, what else would you be looking at this morning?
Oh, yeah, there are thoughts, and that's to simply avoid it. These little news items are not going to make a difference. DLF is in the dumps as of now. It's probably building a base that may take months before it comes out of it. So don't touch it. Stocks, there are opportunities on the long and short side both. Britannia is a buying opportunity. FMCG still outperforms, and the idea is to buy outperforming sectors always. So Britannia is a buy for the day and also a positional trade. Granules, I have spoken about pharma for the last 3 months, how pharma is bottoming out. One by one, the stocks are moving up, and the process is always choppy. But now I think it's visible to everyone. So granules from that sector is a buying opportunity. Again, a positional trade and intraday trade both. And finally, Havells, which is an intraday trade, which suggests momentum on the upside could continue for some time. I also have two intraday shorts. One of them is Indiabulls Housing. Friday's price action in Indiabulls Housing was very disappointing. It's on the verge of breaking a significant support level, and if that happens, it enters into a mini bear market. So we take that trade on the short side for the day. And CEAT, similar chart, CEAT is already in a mini bear market. It probably continues there, but all in all, favor the bulls.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We've got lots more questions, Sudarshan, but let me get to Prakash and first get his trades. You also buying IT?
Absolutely. I'll start with Mindtree. Certainly looking good. What a bar it has seen on Friday. I think it's heading up to levels closer to 1150 zones. Stop below 1070. I too have NIT Tech. Yes, it's trading at an all-time high, looking good to 52-week high. Can climb to levels closer to around 1450 zones. Stop below 1380. Pidilite is another safe stock that looks good. Looks like the correction is over and up move is resumed. Targets on the upside 1200. Stop below 1160. And finally, Tata Motors looks like a long-term bottoming out process is in place. It can climb to levels closer to 280 zones. Stop below 260.
Okay, gentlemen, we are going to come back to you all with lots more questions, but Sonia has been alerting to us that all is not well with auto sales, and we didn't expect that to come into tractor sales as well. The Escort stock is the one that's on our radar now. The company posted weak numbers, just under 5% in August. That is its lowest sales since December 2017. Exports too under pressure. Bharat Madan, CFO of Escorts, joins us on the phone line. Bharat, what happened really? I mean, you were going at a fairly decent clip. Now suddenly your sales are like half of what it was in June.
Yeah, good morning, Lata. No, I think overall, if you look at the trend, we don't see really a matter of concern for the industry because the numbers are looking strong even on retail side in August as well. So it's a general question of when the channel would like to stock because normally the festive season this time is a bit delayed. So obviously the stocking will also get delayed accordingly. But otherwise, we don't see any pressure really happening on the number front and we see the growth momentum will continue.
So when you say growth momentum will continue, Mr. Madan, what kind of average run rate do you see in tractors in the festive season this time?
See, this time everybody is very bullish on the festive season. I think third quarter is going to be a really bumper quarter for the industry. So we are also expecting a bumper average run rate could be touching almost 10,000 tractors this time.
Okay, so when you say 10,000 tractors, you're looking at a monthly run rate come September, October, November. Is that an average that you're looking at over the next 3 months?
That's right.
Okay, and what about exports? I mean, even with their down a goodish bit from the year ago levels, is it a one-off or what's the explanation for the fall?
Yeah, export I would call it a one-off because we got a good order book which is available today for export also. So I think there's some issues on the supply chain side where the major pressure has been on building up inventory for the festive season for the domestic market. So the pressure has been there on export because of that. So otherwise the order book is there and we expect the pickup will again happen from next month onwards and export numbers too.
Okay, so you still stand by the guidance that you had laid out the last time, right? 12 to 15% for FY19. And when do you see the bigger pickup happen? Is it a big chunk of it going to come through in this festive season itself? Or do you think in the second half of the year we are looking at a larger move?
So I think festive season is very important. So we are sticking to a guidance of 12 to 15%. And we expect the numbers will start picking up right from this month onwards. So I think September, the stocking will start happening from the channel front also. And we'll have very big months coming in the retail side in October and November. So overall, I think the guidance will be still maintained.
Okay, any price hikes that you plan to take to pass on the higher raw material costs? Because that's something that you had indicated to us the last time.
We already done that in July, and we done partly in April also, and then again we did it in July. So far, whatever inflation we've been able to. Not say any further increase happening on the commodity side. I think we'll take a call maybe after the festive season is over.
Okay. All right, Mr. Madan, we leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us. So the management, quite unfazed, just believe that stocking is a little later this time around because the festive season is later. Not to worry, the management says, and I don't know if the market will take them for their word. Well, there'll be a need for lots of trading strategies. The SGX Nifty is still indicating that the futures will open a bit higher, probably propelled by that big GDP number, 8.2. The rest of Asia is not obliging, and there are problems of an overbought market. But nevertheless, let's ask Vinod Sharma what he would do. First with the index and then with stocks.
Yes, because the index has a resistance at around 11,800 and thereafter further resistance at 11,999. So I think it is better to pay attention to the individual stocks because there is more conviction. And we have a sector, pharma sector, which has bottomed out in the month of June. Still a way to go to reach its high, which is another 25% more. So therefore, I have 3 pharma stocks to go. Lata, shall I begin?
Yes, please.
Yes. My best pick obviously will continue to be Sun Pharma. Although in terms of why open interest was reduced on Friday, but the price went up. And of course, we have the news. So I'm buying the 660 call at 19, stop loss at 14 and a target of around 28. Okay. Obviously, this will be a topic. Cipla, I'm buying the 680 call at 17, stop loss at 12 and a target of around 28. And Dr. Reddy's went up by 5% on Friday. Still, I'm buying that because the OI was added by around 6%, good addition on the first day. I'm buying the 2,500 call at around 99, stop loss at 70 and a target of around 150.
Okay, so a lot of pharma stocks on your list today. Anything else that you're looking at from the frontliners?
Yeah, one from your sector which you track very closely, Sonia, and that is Ashok Leyland. I'm buying the 130 call at 5.5, stop loss at 4, target of around 9. And I still think that the good monsoons that we have had in the month of August, the best monsoon we have had in the last 4 years, should augur well even for the rest of the pack like Mahindra & Mahindra for going forward. My last stock is Chola, where I'm buying the 1,500 call at around 38, stop loss at 30, and target around 55.
Okay, Vinod, we'll come back to you for more queries, but thank you for now for giving us your ideas. We'll also discuss another issue. The Supreme Court has put in place a construction ban in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Uttarakhand till the 3 states can put in place their solid waste management policy. Anuj Puri, the chairman of ANAROC, joins on the phone line with his thoughts. Anuj, good morning. If this comes through, of course, it'll be a huge blow to many of these players. But how do you see this play out? Do you think it'll go through in its entirety? And if it does, what kind of impact would this have on the sector?
So good morning, and clearly it has a very large impact given that these 3 states, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Maharashtra, have had a construction ban from the Supreme Court last week. Clearly Maharashtra is the one which is the biggest state, and 2 cities, Pune and Mumbai, are going to suffer the most. The construction ban is not only on real estate, it is also on the infrastructure projects. So clearly the state government will have to get into the action very quickly. And I do believe is that before the next hearing, which is scheduled for 9th October, the state government will find some kind of an interim resolution. Otherwise, it is going to have a very large ramification in delays on real estate projects as well as infrastructure, which is going to get hit.
Does this apply to all private and government construction? I mean, Bombay is full of metro construction. I mean, will it apply to all of them, private and government?
So, Lata, it does appear that it will apply to all of them, infrastructure, which includes government and private. The only thing is on the private under RERA, our understanding is that this will be considered as a force majeure. And hence, the RERA timelines will get extended for the projects that are going to suffer with this ban.
Can you give us any kind of amount? How many projects currently are, behind schedule, are underway in Maharashtra itself that could get impacted, both real estate as well as infra?
So, we had done a study and we had said is that across India, and it wasn't only specific to Maharashtra, there was nearly 4 lakh crore worth of projects which were already behind schedule. And I would say is at least 10 to 15% of that would be in Maharashtra on the real estate. So clearly there is a large ramification, and it would not be only on the real estate. I mean, it'll be on steel, it'll be on cement. It can have a very widespread impact. And that's where our thought is that government will get into action very quickly, and before the next hearing scheduled in a month's time, on 9th of October, they will find a resolution.
What do you mean by resolution, Anuj? Do you expect them to go and ask the court for a stay? I mean, what can they do?
So our thought is that some kind of an interim resolution on a solid waste management to say either this is the way that we are going to do, these are the steps that we are going to take, and this is how we are going to mitigate the solid waste management that is getting erupted from infrastructure and construction projects, or that they will be able to find some kind of a solution to dispose of that solid waste management.
But typically those would be long drawn, isn't it? So, I mean, the quick fix would be what? To seek an earlier hearing from the Supreme Court and tell them that we will put in a plan, give us 2 months, give us... I mean, what can be a quick fix? The policy itself will take time. Implementation will take even longer.
Correct. So the next date of hearing has already been fixed, which is the 9th of October. So in about a month's time. So that's good that at least we have the date in sight. I think the government will do 2 things. One, they'll definitely prepare a blueprint to say is that, this is how we will implement this entire thing. And I do believe is that they'll make some efforts, to commence work on that implementation of the blueprint.
No, but till 9th, all work stops.
Till 9th October, it stops. Oh. Absolutely. So, at least for a month, you're not going to see much construction work going on.
Okay, all right. Well, it's going to be a big blow for sure to many of these players. Thanks, Anuj, for joining us and giving us your view. Waste management processes to be put in place is going to take a very, very long time, as we know. And also, there's a lot of work to be done. There's been a doubling of waste generated in Mumbai itself between 1999 and 2016. So this is going to be a long-drawn effort. But let's move on and take a look at what's happening in the commodity space this morning. Manisha Gupta joins in for a roundup of all the action there. Manisha, hi, good morning. What's buzzing in the commodity markets today?
Morning, Sonia. Thank you so much for that. Well, we haven't started the month or the week on a positive note, and that is because the US-China trade tensions are back on surface. The US dollar has strengthened, and that's weighing onto commodities. So almost all sectors have opened on a weaker note. Starting with the metal space, you have the LME copper trading at a one-week lows. Nickel is trading at some 6-month lows as well. We did see 3.5% of decline in nickel on Friday, and we have opened a percentage point on the lower side today as well. Almost everything is open negative in sense of metals on LME today. The crude oil prices also have opened weak, 0.25% on the weaker side. That is because the data from Friday shows that OPEC output has been the highest in 2018 for the month of August. US also has added some more rig counts, and we have seen output from there at 11 million barrels per day as well. Apart from that, there has been an increase in output from Libya. Iraq exports have been at all-time highs. Concerns, of course, are on the Iran sanctions, and that is what is keeping the prices supportive. But everything, most of the other producing countries actually have seen an increase in production, and you have seen that reaction come in for the prices today.